Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
Topic 4 is from James Morgans. I was wondering if you saw the news that Patrick Stewart is now confirming that it is him in the Doctor Strange 2 trailer. Wow, just was very dyslexic there for a moment. I know most of us have been assuming it's him, but we haven't had official confirmation. So with it now being official, do you think he is, as we all assume, playing Professor X, or do you think it's possible it's a bit of a misdirect and he could be playing another character altogether?
All right, thanks for saying that in, James. Appreciate that. And yeah, look, of course, when that Doctor Strange 2 trailer came out, everybody was all excited. We clearly heard the voice. We should tell him the truth, right? And that's Patrick Stewart's voice. We saw the little bit half silhouette from behind of the head, and we all knew it was Patrick Stewart. That being said, it was not officially Patrick Stewart. And whereas Patrick Stewart gave a very tongue-in-cheek kind of answer, it's like, what are you talking about? I was at home in England. How could I have possibly been in that commercial, right? While he gave a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek answer, the reality was there was no official confirmation from anybody. It could have been somebody that sounded like him. Hell, as some people even suggested, it might have been a misdirect. Somebody actually wrote into the show and said, what if Patrick Stewart's not in this at all? And they just took a sound clip from his voice as a big misdirect in it. And hey, listen, with the amount of lying and misdirecting and Andrew Garfieldisms and all that kind of stuff, it's not the craziest thing for somebody to suggest. Although the vast majority of us still believed, oh yeah, that was Patrick Stewart. And it's going to be Patrick Stewart. Well, yes, it is now official. Patrick Stewart has finally himself actually confirmed that it is him, and he is in Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. This comes to us from CBR, who writes the following. Stewart was asked about the recent Multiverse of Madness trailer. Well, I had my phone turned off as it happened, so I didn't hear anything, he said. It wasn't until the next morning when I woke up and looked at my phone and found that I had been bombarded with responses and that my PR people had sent me reactions that they had detailed and passed on to me. I actually didn't recognize my own voice. It sounded different. Whether I had a cold or something at the time, I don't know. But I was astonished, and all they saw was the back of my shoulder and I think my earlobe. Nothing else. There would have been so many connections made, but it pleased me. So there we have Patrick Stewart confirming, yeah, maybe I had a cold that day or whatever, but it pleased me. He's now confirming he's there. Let's address the one question so we don't have to touch it again. Is he playing Professor X? He's playing Professor X. There is zero doubt that he is playing now. What version of Professor Charles Xavier? Who knows? That's up for discussion. It's up for debate. But he is playing some version of Professor Charles Xavier. I don't think anybody questions that. I don't think anybody really denies that. So that's there. Rob, in today's age of misdirects and misinformation and all this kind of stuff, now that we actually have Patrick Stewart confirming and saying, yes, it's me, yes, I'm in this movie, and we know he's there, how do you feel about his presence in the movie now that it's 100% confirmed fact? How do you feel about his presence in the movie, and what sorts of role do you think we could see him playing in a Doctor Strange 2?
Well, I'm not going to lie and tell you, I think this is very exciting. I love the X-Men, John. The X-Men, to me, the comic book iteration of the X-Men are kind of what I think about Star Trek. I think about the X-Men in the comic realm. And, I read the X-Men for 30 years. I love this idea. I love that it is the multiverse. They've already introduced the multiverse in No Way Home. I think it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, in the comics, Professor X has, as I've told you, I sent you some comic panels.
Which were amazing over my birthday weekend. Rob, my phone just keeps going off every couple times a day. Ding, ding, ding. And it's Rob sending me images of panels that were so good.
Yeah, I was reading Avengers Disassembled. And in Avengers Disassembled, they deal with Wanda's kids. They deal with Doctor Strange, who actually delivered her kids, and what chaos magic does. And she made it so it doesn't. I don't know.
They were great. They were great, by the way. Everything you sent me was so good.
Yeah, and you're reading this, and they've completely laid out. Now I don't know, and I don't think we don't. For what we know, I can't draw the line between what in Avengers Disassembled that sets up all of Wanda and her kids. The multiverse is not a part of that story.
Right.
So what happened in WandaVision is all been detailed in the comics. But they figured out, as they do with the Marvel movies, they're doing something different that I don't know how it's all going to work. I do think I know what the end game to all of this is, and it has to do with Wanda, and it has to do with the X-Men. And I think that we're going to see, I mean, obviously, Wanda Maximoff is a mutant. Patrick Xavier. Charles Xavier is a mutant. The question that we all have is, how are they going to bring mutants into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I would maintain they've been here all the time. We just didn't know it. Wanda Maximoff's a mutant. Charles Xavier is a mutant. There's going to be mutant shenanigans in this movie. And Charles Xavier, remember, we've got one of the most powerful mutants in all of comicdom in Wanda Maximoff. And we have one of the other most powerful mutants, Charles Xavier. I think stuff's going to go down, man.
Just to be clear, though, nobody has said that Wanda Maximoff is a mutant in this. This is all stuff that
This is all speculation based on what I sent you.
Just to be clear,
Just to be clear, this is all a major speculation, and more than ever before, going back and reading Avengers Disassembled and then reading House of M, I am more convinced than ever. And the fact that Charles Xavier is here and Wanda Maximoff is here, and everything that Doctor Strange did in relation to Wanda Maximoff and her kids,
right.
I'm convinced more than ever that that's what this all is leading up to, the introduction of mutants in the MCU, even though we've had one in plain sight the whole time.
Because the story, for people who don't know, the story of Avengers Disassembled, which is really one it's a terrible title for the story, by the way, but is really one you should read, because it sets up this pivotal moment that happens in there. And it's the whole thing that leads up to that. There's a lot of philosophical debates and arguments, a lot of ethical discussions, morality issues, all these kind of things that come to a head that all kind of revolve around Wanda.
Yeah.
And what do you do about Wanda? We don't talk about Bruno, and all that kind of stuff. It's a powerful
I'll tell
series.
you, basically,
Guys, we want to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of this video, Stamps.com. You know, they call what I and what a lot of you guys do small business, but to us, it doesn't seem small. It's the world to us. And you can't afford to miss out on opportunities to grow and keep your customers wanting more. Because time is money. Don't waste either with repeated trips to the post office. With Stamps.com, you can skip the trip and focus on how to take your business to the next level. Stamps.com lets you print official postage right from your computer and saves you money in the process, so you can spend less time at the post office and more time making your customers happy. Stamps.com gives you access to all of the post office and UPS shipping services that you need right from your computer. And get discounts you can't find anywhere else, like up to 40% off USPS rates and 76% off UPS. So stop overpaying for shipping with Stamps.com. Sign up with the promo code CAMPEA for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com and click on the microphone at the top of the page and enter the code CAMPEA.
Wanda she goes around the bend, she's crazy. She attacks the Avengers, she goes out of her mind. And at the end of the story, Magneto, her father, comes down from the sky and takes her away, rescues her. Now, John, what if after all these shenanigans happen, and whatever happened, Wanda's a broken child, the multiverse is put back together, and whatever happens, what if this movie ends like Avengers Disassembled did, but this time we've got the multiverse? What if Magneto himself, in whatever iteration, comes down and gets the deeply wounded Wanda? That's the end of the film. The end of the film is the smoke is settling. Wanda's she's like crying, her mind is moving. Doctor Strange is save the universe. And what if that's the last image? We see Magneto come gathering up his daughter and saying, we can help her now, and taking her away.
I mean, it would be very comic accurate, but it's not the direction either you or I think this is going, because you and I have both kind of bought into the theory but we're going to find out the No More Mutants moment was actually a moment in history. Now, they might hodgepodge.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the indication is we'll be sitting around going, well, it's like in Infinity War when Thanos snaps his finger. At first, nothing's going on. Nothing happens, and then we see people start to
Slowly starts to
disintegrate.
happen, yeah.
So what if all the shenanigans, the multiverse shenanigans happens, Doctor Strange puts everything together, and whatever happens in the movie happens, and the climax of the movie ends, and we're all looking around going, well, what now? You know, and everyone's looking up wondering, and you just hear the fluttering of a cape, and that the indication it's just Magneto. I mean, I think it's going to be Doctor Strange, frankly, who picks her up and takes her off. But if they had Magneto, and that's how they tell you the world of mutants is here, they're just not going to. And now we go to Thor, Love, and Thunder. We're going out into space. When do we get back to the. It's going to be a while. Then we're going to go back to Wakanda. And we're, you know, maybe in Wakanda, if you introduce Magneto and you have Magneto come down from the sky, right? Then we go into space. And then in Wakanda, who's in Wakanda? Storm. Storm's in Wakanda.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing that.
I'm telling you, dude.
They're not-
And that's what but they're showing you that there are mutants in the Marvel universe. Dude, I'm telling you, I'm getting chills.
Well,
I don't know if this can happen.
It all depends on what they decide. I can't see them, like we discussed the other day about the possibility of Magneto being introduced in Doctor Strange 2. And I think, listen, as long as Professor Charles Xavier is there,
That's what I'm saying.
the door is absolutely open to that. I just don't think narratively that's how it would kind of unfold. And I think this movie is going to come to a more definitive end than some. I don't think that they're going to leave it on a big open chapter, but it would be interesting to see.
But the thing is, we'll know they'll in the course of the movie if they're really going to open up the door for mutants. We'll know, but it'd be like, okay, we wouldn't know because you're standing wherever you're standing. Like, you know, you might be in the field in Arkansas somewhere. And in New York, you know that mutants are in New York, and you know that mutants are in LA, but in a field in Arkansas, you're not going to know. But if Magneto comes out, and it could be a new actor, whoever they've cast as Magneto with his white hair.
Well, see, this is
classic Magneto coming down.
This is an advantage they have because a lot of times in comic book movies, you can't pull something like that off because it will mean nothing to the audience. This is a situation where even the general movie-going audience knows very well who Magneto is because we've had decades of these movies, right? So that is an advantage that it would have here, that you literally could have that coming down, because what you don't want to do narratively is have some profound moment that 5% of the audience are going to get and understand. I mean, yeah, the post-credit scene in Eternals, when you have Thanos' brother show up, you know,
totally,
it's not an important thing. It's just, you can ask who that is. But if you're going to have somebody descending out of the sky and picking up Wanda Maximoff, that's going to be something that means something to the audience. Magneto would work.
Saying it's my daughter.
Yes.
You know, because you hear all that. And I'll tell you, then you go to Thor, Love, and Thunder. And then if you, in Wakanda Forever, they introduce Storm as a mutant in Wakanda, like they introduced T'Challa in Civil War, which is another indication that mutants have always been here. We just haven't seen them. And she might be involved in internal Wakandan politics. But
well, look, remember,
I found something out, John.
Yeah, I know. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, Aurora, she's more connected to T'Challa. If T'Challa's not going to be there, I don't see any reason to connect Storm to
I would say this.
Wakanda.
Storm is connected to T'Challa. But who would she also be connected to? Who might be her best friend? Shuri. There were never mutants around because we've seen a world without mutants. But now, if Storm is, and by the way, I don't know this to be a
Storm's
fact.
not Wakandan,
right? But she could be in. I mean,
sure.
In this new universe, she was always there. She was always, you know.
We got to move over here because I need to hear from Chris on this. Because we've been leaving Chris out of this,
by the way,
this conversation.
I don't want people to think Robert Burnett said. I'm this
pure
is all speculation.
Oh, I'm going to tweet today.
Pure speculation.
Robert Meyer Burnett said this, so.
So you're seeing this. Patrick Stewart's now confirming he's there.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we know that's a sure thing, how does it change your perspective on his presence there, and what do you think that could mean for this story? You know, as we go into it.
I mean, stay on the course on the things we've talked about. I think we're going to see the Illuminati. I think he's going to be part of that panel. I think that we're going to see all these different figureheads from the various multiverses coming together, trying to figure out the Wanda problem, right? How do you solve a problem like Wanda Maximoff? So it's all more the same of what y'all are saying and what we've been saying on this show, right? Professor X is there to figure out what the deal is with Wanda, because she is at the core of all of these different problems in every single universe.
Yeah.
And I think he's just solidifying that that's where this is going.
By the way, can I throw another thing out? Isn't the reported villain of Wakanda Forever Namor?
Is it?
Is it Namor?
Is it really?
Well,
I want
Namor's
Namor
a
so
mutant.
much.
Namor's a
By
mutant.
reported, if you mean some sites say, I don't believe it, but you never know.
I don't know. But if he is, Namor's a mutant, so Namor hasn't been around, you know. And what they solve that problem, and suddenly Namor's back, reality's set, and Namor's problem with Wakanda, because in the comics he flooded Wakanda at one point. So that would make sense too, and that would bolster the idea that maybe Storm would show up.
I think you've taken a thread here and gone in a million different directions.
So
Admittedly, I have.
I think it's great.
And that means Chick-fil-A will have a special on Tuesdays. You never know. But hey, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Patrick Stewart, if there was any question, which I don't really think there was a lot, but
I
if
got
you
myself
did have
all
any
sweaty,
question
John.
about whether or not, you know, what we heard and saw in that Doctor Strange 2 trailer might be a little bit of misdirect, Patrick Stewart's now put it to rest. Yes, that is me. I'm in this. How do you guys feel about that? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.